Greetings, dear perceptive souls. This is Bevan Neiman. I'm a life purpose coach and intuitive career mentor for empaths, lightworkers, and mystics. I'm also the co-founder of 1millionempaths.com, which is a beautiful, high vibrational online community, global community for those of us who are serving and spreading the light and need a place to be nurtured and held and uplifted and connect with others like us. So I wanted to get into this reading today, and I've been working very deeply on life purpose coaching with many of my clients. And this is a time right now in our world when so many people are starting to really question, who am I and why am I here? What is the next chapter of my life and this journey? Where do I go next? And what's really particularly happening as I see it is that those who have been kind of in this corporate structure, right? This is very linear. This is very geometric, very intellectual energy. It is stable, right? It has been stable. It has a stable base, but there's a little tiny, just a little tiny disc that's holding the whole thing up. And this, for me is a little reminiscent of a skyscraper. I live in a metropolitan area, and, there are many, many of these skyscrapers, and skyscrapers are like this desire to build higher, to scale, to, show prominence and power, if you will. And what we've seen is that there's a whole lot of people down here at the bottom, and then a few people up at the top, and a lot of the wealth and power and everything else goes way up to the top. And many of us, including myself, work in this. Well, I no longer do, but worked in this kind of structure, right? This structure where it was very rigid, very linear, lots of rules. It's a very masculine energy, and there's nothing wrong with the masculine energy. We need to be able to take action in our world and set goals and strive for things and expand ourselves. That's an important piece of energy that we need to embody. But what happens is that particularly women who get into that space and try to keep up with that pace, and we've gotten into this very masculine based pace of life. It just isn't working anymore. And we find that the reason that we come into illness, the reason that we feel disconnected, the reason there's high rates of divorce, the reason there's, all of this conflict about the patriarchy, all these things is because we realize we've been heavily, heavily masculine dominant, and we've really forgotten that feminine part of our nature. And it doesn't matter what gender you identify with in this human vessel. We all have both the masculine, the doing, the creating, the inventing, the solving, the logical, the intellectual, the pursuit of science and invention and technology and the air energy, all of that. It's really valuable energy. But the feminine has sort of been left on the back burner for literally tens of thousands of years. And we've lost touch with that side of ourselves that goes within, as intuitive, nurturing, birthing, pausing and just resting so that we can receive, right? And slowing things down a little bit, and the ecosystem and the interconnectedness. And now we're seeing with our current situation in our world that we came very, very dramatically from the masculine energy to boom into the feminine energy. And for many people, that was really uncomfortable, including those who identify as women, because we've learned how to adapt into that energy and that doing, and we've lost touch with this beingness. So this next card is beautiful. This is from the Sacred Rebels deck. I highly recommend it. And this is She Feels and She Knows. The 2 and the 2 add up to 4. So it also is a sense of stability. It's a stability from within. It's not the external world that we're creating here. This is the internal world. And I'm trying to get it so that there's not as much glare. I've got a little bit of beautiful sunshine. I'm not complaining about that coming in. But you see, she's looking off into the distance. She's a visionary, right? There's a part of her that is allowing herself to dream, to vision, to tap into her clairvoyant, visionary self, that knows that there's like this gorgeous, peacock feather that comes. The peacock is is really that masculine energy. It's like, okay, look at me, look at our achievements, look at how beautiful I am, look at these things. And this is what women have been relegated to for a very long time. And yet underneath, she knows that there's more, right? The she part of each of us knows there's more. She's longing for more. As a matter of fact, she just can't take it. A lot of people postulate that this slowdown and this forced sheltering in place and all this was our inner feminine just crying out to have this rest and this pause. Because we've been in this fire energy for a really long time, this really action-oriented energy, production and going out and getting resources and hunting and we've been in this energy, and then yet we come into the end of the cycle of the 10, right? And so the fire can either be a warming fire that you sit around and I love in the winter to strike up the fire pit and sit under the stars and just warm your hands, and it nurtures you. And that's the feminine aspect of fire. But fire can also burn the whole damn thing down too, right? And sometimes we actually need that. That's really the phoenix energy, right? When the phoenix is that mythological bird that literally can burn itself down to ashes at the end of each day and rise at the rising of the sun in the morning and reinvent itself. And that's exactly what we're doing. Many people on an individual level, and certainly as a global collective, we are finishing this cycle of the fire energy. And that process of reinvention, that process of being and embodying the phoenix energy, and literally we can do this at any moment. So I say, like, if you have a thought in your mind that comes up and you're like, ooh, I wonder why I think that. That's not very helpful for me. That's not very affirming. In that moment, you can be the phoenix. You can be like, okay, I saw that. I acknowledged it. Burning it down, starting anew, putting in a fresh thought. You can come up with some really strong emotions, really powerful emotions, anger, resentment, jealousy, all of these really fiery emotions, a need to get back at someone, get justice, whatever these things are, right? And then you can and then you can realize that you're letting that overcome you, and you can start to back down and back away and allow it to dissipate, right? And allow it to dissipate. And then you can rise up into a different perspective. So what I love about the next card is this is restore and replenish. We have been through a hell of a lot as a global society over the last few months, and it's time for us just to do this. This morning, I got to a point and I hadn't even worked yet, actually, and my body was like, we just need to lay down for like 30 minutes. And I did. I just went, I curled up on the couch, I snuggled with my cat, and I just laid down and I replenished. And when I got up, I had the vitality to do this again. And when there's so much energy going around, and those of you who are empathic and intuitive, you can feel like all this energy, all this collective energy, because tensions are high, emotions are high. And we need to take this time to honor, really like go back to the womb in some ways. You see that she's in a fetal position here. And this is, honoring that like inner child part of ourselves and getting into that feminine place, that nurtured place. You see she's tucked in and surrounded and nurtured. And then what happens is we go into the vision quest, right? When we start to go within, the largest expanse of anything we can discover is inside our own consciousness. It is literally the next frontier. And you see like this person is just stepping off, like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go within. And, because there's darkness here, like that can feel kind of scary when we start to go in, but there's also immense light. Like, so this is sort of the light of the moon, and it's, the realm of our emotions and the deep dive into what's next for me. What is it that I really, really want? What is it that lights me up? If we get back into that fire energy from the heart-based place, and we listen to the knowing of our inner feminine, and we go into this dance and this vision quest where we're like, okay, I'm open. You see, like, the heart is wide open here. There's no curling. First we contract, right? And that's a natural thing. And then we say, okay, it's time to open. I'm ready to open. And this is where we really go on this journey to discover that next life purpose that we have. to get closer to our soul's desire, to really activate this part of ourselves. We see a huge difference in the energy of these two. You know, when I worked for the corporate world, like this was the energy, and I tried to fit myself into this mold, right? And I did it pretty successfully because empaths, you know, we can be chameleons. We can change our shape and our color and we can fit. But after a while, I was like, I've got to break out. I just knew I couldn't do it anymore. This is the energy that I wanted to be in. And I've gone on these vision quests literally almost every day. This brings us back into balance, right? You have the 6. It brings us back into balance, and it opens up our entire system. It activates our energy field from this really deep divine level. And then what it usually leads us to, and in my case, this is definitely what happened, is it led me to having these conscious connections with self. So we could look at this as a mirroring effect, right? You know, we're able to actually, like, this person's looking away, or this part of ourself is looking away, doesn't want to see, looking at the shiny objects down here. Could be a Pisces, who knows? And then this part is looking straight in the mirror, saying, yes, I honor myself. There's green, there's new growth here. There's the 3 and the 5 adding up to an 8, which gives us the balance, right? The balance of the inner and the outer, the masculine and the feminine. There's starting to be life and color coming back to this self. And there's an ability to be, you know, vulnerable, right? And be seen and be shown. And this journey, you know, begins with a single step, right? So we just have to make that decision that we're ready to begin exploring this inner wilderness, this inner self, and start taking a look at the wisdom that we contain. And we have a suitcase. You can see here it has like these beautiful butterflies. Like, it's starting to crack open. We're getting some transformation. We're releasing we're releasing that part of ourselves that wants to be tuned in and tapped in and turned on and vital and having a life that lights us up. We're ready for that, right? We spent a long time in a space that felt really confining and square. And in that, we have the power of attraction. So this could be an attraction of, you know, a loved one in your life. This could be people who will show up to provide you with answers or resources or the next step. This is just a really powerful manifestation card. And you see, we come back into balance here. We have the masculine and the feminine energy. We know when to be in our beingness, when we need to get quiet, go within, and when we need to expand ourselves out. We know how to work with the language of energy. And you see there's like a beehive here, which is beautiful. There's sort of a beehive on the masculine side, which is like making honey and producing something. And over here is the ripple effect, right? So when we sit in our beingness, there's nothing that has to be created. There's nothing that has to be done. There's nothing going wrong. As we sit in that space where we're really deeply connected with self and with source, we just ripple that out. And then what happens is that sacred geometry begins to form itself. We make this deeply sweet nectar that, you know, for ourselves and others. And I love this card next, going beyond normal. So what this requires for most of us is that we've been in the button factory before, but we have this idea, right? It's like, I don't want to make widgets anymore. I really, really, I don't want to be on someone else's time clock anymore. And you see there's like, this is sort of an interesting juxtaposition of the Mother Mary, right? This divine feminine who's then constrained by the gears and the production and the scale and the expand and the more and the more and the more. And this says, you know, is it time to move beyond the mainstream? Is it time to move beyond that and to really tap into your divinity, to really get clear about who you are and why you're here and how you're meant to serve? And this has been a part of my journey. As you see, I'm here. I went from being in a corporate job with khaki pants and the shirt that had the company logo and conforming to all of the policies to now, you know, doing oracle readings on YouTube. And that doesn't mean that's your path. So don't get me wrong. So like whatever this little bit of going beyond normal is for you, this is just about honoring that part of yourself that is intuitive, that is empathic, that has gifts. Maybe your gift is the the interpretation of dreams. Maybe your gift is writing. Maybe your gift is healing, whatever that is. Like just starting to honor that and saying, yes, maybe there's a possibility. The light is like shining and it's lighting up that this could happen for me. And this is when you begin to dream a beautiful dream. When you start to realize that you are one of these beautiful points of light, the millions and millions of the beautiful points of light that are all waking up across our planet. Look at the gorgeous, like our planet has a crown chakra, right? It's literally being, flooded with this gorgeous energy. And Earth is meant to be vital. It's meant to be healthy. It's meant to have all this vibratory hum. And you are a part of that. I teach that, we're each a sacred instrument, and I'm playing mine and you're playing yours. And some of us are woodwinds and some of us are percussion and some of us crash the cymbals and some of us slide our bow across the strings, right? And everybody's playing and we're learning how to play in this deeper harmony here. So there's just this contrast between the world that we've been working to create and the world that is emerging now. And this is really the vision, right? And this is a vision and a manifestation that many light workers and empaths, including the people in my community, this is what we're doing, is bringing together the planetary grid of light workers so that we can uplift and support each other and amplify each other's work. This is going to take time. It's going to take time for us to build this dream. It's going to take time. We're setting the foundations now. So this is already activated. All of this is happening. And the more light that you exude, the more you allow yourself to be seen, the more that you reinvent yourself, the more rest and restoration that you need. It's exponential. Like, so the more energy work that you start to engage in, the more healing, the more teaching, the more writing, the more coaching and counseling and whatever that is, permaculture, whatever you're into, the more that you need to nurture yourself, and not as an afterthought. It is like the thing that has to happen first. You see that light that just came in? It's like, woo. You must nurture yourself. You must return into that womb and just allow yourself to get quiet, to get still, to take care of you, and then fill yourself up and be fulfilled instead of being serving from that drained and depleted place. So I hope this was really helpful for you as you explore what it means to sort of break out of and be a little nonconformist, whether it's something funky you wear. One time I dyed my hair purple, that was fun, or there's little ways that we start to do this, whether you like to read tarot, whether you like to maybe stop working so much for the corporation that you don't believe in and find a different company that's more in alignment, more conscious, has a different environment. Doesn't mean you have to leave and do something else or run your own business. You don't have to do that. But it is about making conscious choices. And this is what my teaching is all about. I thank you so much and I honor your journey. I invite you to trust your inner knowing, to allow yourself to embody the Phoenix energy. You can reinvent your life, yourself, your faith, your trust in the universe at any moment that you desire to. I look forward to seeing you again. And there's all kinds of information in the description box below. If you'd like to get connected with me, do a private coaching session, or see what my community is about, you're more than welcome to do that. And I'll see you soon, my friends. Namaste.